Today we'll be taking pictures of this old trumpet so we can place an ad for it in an online auction website. Great images can be very powerful advertising tools to make products more appealing to potential buyers. A good photo can mean the difference between making a sale or not. We want to make this trumpet look as appealing as possible by showcasing its qualities and character. Simple everyday objects can often be very interesting subjects for photographs if they're shot in intriguing ways. Camera angle can make all the difference. By choosing a camera angle that is different than the way we generally view the subject, we can show the viewer something that they may not have noticed before. Even if the object is something they are very familiar with, showing it to them in a new way will make the image interesting and unique. The difference between a snapshot and a photograph is the thought that is put into the composition and camera angle. A snapshot is simply a record of the objects that were at a certain place. It's usually a straight-on view of the front of the subject directly in the center of the image. Now let's take a few pictures of this trumpet. Anyone can take a snapshot of a product, but with a little effort and creativity, we can take a picture that will be truly interesting. A good photograph will have an interesting composition that the photographer considered before the shot was taken. The object will be placed in the most flattering location with a camera angle that shows the best view. There will be visual evidence of the photographer's hand in the creation of the image. Sometimes you simply need to change the angle of the camera. Typically, cameras are held horizontally, and that's how most images will be taken. Horizontal angles are good for landscapes or photographs of short, wide objects. Do not be afraid to try turning your camera vertically. If the subject is tall and slender, it makes more sense to take the picture vertically. We can also turn the camera on an angle for interesting diagonal images. When we tip the camera at an angle, we can add a little life to an otherwise mundane setting. You may find that diagonal lines are more interesting than straight horizontal or vertical lines. When you tip the camera at an angle, be careful not to give the impression that your subject is falling out of the frame. This can be distracting and make your composition feel awkward. Now let's take a few pictures with some different angles. Changing the position of the camera can also show a more interesting view of your subject. If you keep your camera at normal eye level, you will show a view of the subject that most people are familiar with. Try to explore the subject, go around it, get up high, down low, up close, do what you can to show the details of the subject. Show what is unique about that particular item that makes it different from every other one in the world. Most of the time, an image that showcases the detail in a subject will be more visually interesting than an image of the entire subject. Don't hesitate to climb up a ladder if you need to. If you have to, get down on the ground to get an interesting camera angle. The angle of the camera can give a very distinct message to your photograph. When you lower your camera angle, the subject will seem larger. If you do this when photographing a person, it will make the person look larger, more powerful, or more intimidating. The camera represents the viewer's eye, and it will give the impression that the subject is much larger than expected. If you want to lessen this effect, you can raise the camera up to a higher angle. To make a large person look less intimidating, you can take pictures of them from a higher angle. A higher angle will make the subject appear smaller and less intimidating to the viewer. A higher angle also works well when you're taking portraits of people. When people are photographed from above, it makes them look smaller and has a slimming effect. As we're experimenting with different camera angles, we'll need to keep in mind that the angle doesn't have to be extreme to create a good effect. Raising or lowering the camera just a little can have a strong impact on how the subject is perceived. Let's take a few more pictures of this trumpet, but this time we'll try to take some pictures from above. Subjects are often photographed from a straight-on view, and a simple change in that view can dramatically improve an image. As you're taking pictures, try including a variety of side and even back views of the subject. Doing this will give the viewer a different and more interesting view of the subject. Take a few moments to explore the scene and find the best way to show this object that will send the message you want. Photographing the subject from a different perspective will also help to hide any of its flaws. When we're taking pictures of this trumpet, we'll want to make it look as good as possible. We'll want to show it in a way that we haven't seen before. Let's try taking several shots from different angles and camera positions, and we'll have more variety to choose from later. Be aware of how close the camera is to the subject. It's a good idea to try several shots from different distances. If you get stuck with one distance for all of your shots, then they'll all end up looking the same. If you vary the distance of your camera to the subject, you'll have a much greater variety to choose from. Don't be afraid to get close to your subject. The closer you get, the closer your viewers can get. Close-up images show detail better than other perspectives. By choosing a camera angle that is unique and shows the subject in an interesting way, we can make our photos visually intriguing for the viewer, as well as make our subject look as good as possible.